The Warriors blew a 3-1 lead, and the internet will never let them forget that. But we don't talk enough about how a team could have possibly beaten them. When you line up all of the NBA titles of the 2010s, the most impressive trophy just might belong to the Cleveland Cavaliers. When the Cavs won it all in 2016, they did so not just by beating one of the greatest teams in NBA history, but they also did it after a mid-season coaching change. Even though they started the year 30-11, the Cavs fired David Blatt, the third coach they'd let go in 4 seasons, and replaced him with Ty Lue in the middle of what became the franchise's first ever championship run. But with all due credit to Coach Lue, this Cavs team may go down in history as the masterpiece of LeBron James, the team's unquestionable leader who is finally able to bring a Larry O'Brien trophy home to Northeast Ohio.
Cleveland! This is for you!
Throughout the season, King James and the Cavs had a simple signature weapon. They were unstoppable in the open court. According to Second Spectrum, Cleveland averaged 1.37 points per possession in transition, the best of any team since tracking began in 2013-14. The championship-bound Cavaliers also averaged 67.5% effective field goal percentage and 1.39 points per shot in transition. The only team with higher marks since tracking began, the 2013-14 Heat, also led by LeBron James. In his prime, James was a maestro on the break. The combination of his speed, his size, his vision, and his basketball genius helped this Cavs squad generate incredible highlights like this on a nightly basis.
Dellavedova for James! Wow! Bounce toss to Jefferson from the key.
That season, LeBron shot a ridiculous 76% in transition, the best such mark in the league among players with at least 75 shots. James will go down as one of the best and most prolific scorers in pro basketball history, but make no mistake, he will do so because of one key trait: his elite ability to score in the paint. He led the Cavs and the NBA in paint buckets that year and sank them at a 65% clip. Nobody scored more points during the 2010s than LeBron, and nobody scored more in the paint in that decade either. In his prime, James combined the physicality of Karl Malone and the open court playmaking of Magic Johnson. The result was ferocious, especially in these transition situations.
And in transition, James! With the hammer!
LeBron was obviously this team's MVP, and the following 2 stats really drive that point home. With James on the court, the Cavs outscored their opponents by 618 points that season. That was the best mark of any player in the Eastern Conference. With James off the court, Cleveland was actually outscored by 126 points. In other words, when James played, the Cavs were awesome. When he didn't, they were a negative team. It's not rocket science. Still, James was not alone out there. The roster included Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and a great group of complementary role players. The supporting cast was especially good at spacing the floor and knocking down the exact kinds of open looks LeBron is great at creating. As a team, the Cavaliers recorded a 55.1% effective field goal percentage on catch-and-shoot jumpers, second best in the NBA, behind the Warriors, who were one of the greatest shooting teams ever. But the Cavs' shooting stats were particularly great off the dimes from their all-world playmaker. Per Second Spectrum tracking, the Cavaliers had an effective field goal percentage of 58% on jumpers when shooting directly off of a pass from LeBron. That was the highest for a single passer among 80 players with 250-plus assist opportunities on jump shots. Throughout the regular season and the playoffs, James had 2 favorite targets on the perimeter: J.R. Smith and Kevin Love. In fact, James to Smith and James to Love both ranked in the top 10 passer-shooter combos on three-pointers in the league that season. And both of these shooters connected on over 40% of their attempts when James set them up with passes. With James in the paint and elite shooters decorating the edges, it's no wonder this Cavs squad was one of the best offenses in the league. Oh, and they had Kyrie Irving too.
Oh my goodness, and Kyrie on a handle. Too good.
Irving provided this offense with yet another weapon: his ability to create his own shots from everywhere on the court helped the Cavs immensely, especially in the playoffs. During the regular season, Irving averaged 19.6 points per game, but in the playoffs that number ballooned to 25.2. And in those finals, Irving took it to another level. He averaged 27.1 points in the unforgettable 7-game battle against the Warriors. James was this team's MVP, but as we learned in Game 7, this team could not have won this title without Irving's big-time shot making. How big was it? It's hard to overstate it. This team's title will always be remembered for 2 huge plays in those finals. First and foremost, with all due respect to Ray Allen, and that's a ton of respect, folks, Irving's legendary three-point shot in Game 7 of the 2016 Finals was probably the biggest single shot of the decade. But to fully appreciate it, you must also put it in context. During the last few minutes of Game 7, neither the Dubs or the Cavs could find a bucket. The tension was palpable. The defenses were locked in. The title was on the line. Then, LeBron authored the first of 2 legendary moments these Cavs gave us en route to their championship. And it should be no surprise that it happened in the open court. What is unusual, however, is that it happened on defense.
Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James! LeBron James with the rejection.
With less than 2 minutes to go in Game 7 of the NBA Finals, James preserved the tie, which helped set the table for Kyrie's shot. James has built one of the longest, most impressive resumes in pro basketball history, but this play might go down as his best ever. In 2016, Andre Iguodala was the reigning Finals MVP and one of the best all-around players in the league. In real time, it looked like he was about to make a defining shot of the series, but then James intervened and denied it in wildly dramatic fashion. According to Second Spectrum shot models that account for who is shooting, their location, and the defender distance, Iguodala's shot had a 55% chance of going in. But LeBron had his own model, and his chase down block changed the fate of this trophy. Less than a minute later, the best shooter in the world and the 2015-16 MVP, Stephen Curry, had the first chance at an iconic three-pointer, but he clanked one off the backboard. After a timeout, Kyrie Irving took his own chance at creating a legendary triple. Irving might be the most skilled ball handler in NBA history, and that came in handy in the biggest moment of his career, as he gave Curry a painful taste of his own medicine along the right wing.
It's good! Kyrie Irving from downtown!
That was the biggest shot in Cavs history, but according to those Second Spectrum shot models, the probability of it going in was just 30%. Then Curry took it right back down the court with a chance at redemption. After a switch, he had Kevin Love isolated at the top of the arc. Love was on an island that many slow defenders had died on that season. As Curry hunted and pecked with his amazing handle, maybe second only to Kyrie's in the world, Love danced the dance and stayed close, making Curry's attempt tough. Those same shot models assigned the shot a 34% chance of going in. But it didn't. It's a make-or-miss league, folks. Irving hit his clutch three, Curry missed his. This 73-win Warriors team was not supposed to lose in the finals. After 2 easy wins, then a split in Cleveland, the Warriors held a 3-1 lead going back to Oracle Arena. The Warriors went 39-2 at home during the regular season. They were the most dominant team in the league. But James was the most dominant player of the decade, and he proved it in these finals. James led all players on both teams outright in points, rebounds, assists, steals, and blocks. He remains the only player to lead outright all players on both teams in each of those 5 key categories in a playoff series. Ever! Still, it's important to remember his teammates. The Cavs, becoming the first team to overcome a 3-1 finals deficit, owe a lot to the clutch defensive performances of the entire rotation in those big finals victories. The Cavs were a good, not great defense all year long. They ranked 10th in defensive efficiency in the regular season, but they turned it up when they needed to in the finals. With their backs against the wall in Game 5, the Cavs held the celebrated Dubs offense to just 13 points in the fourth quarter at Oracle. Golden State missed its final 9 shots, becoming the first team to do so in a finals game since the 1994 Rockets. After the Cavs won Game 6 at home, the Dubs were still the favorites to win Game 7 and take the series. Trailing by 1 point to start the final quarter, the Cleveland defense locked in. Again, they held this incredible offense to just 13 points in the fourth. And again, they forced the Warriors to miss their final 9 shots down the stretch. Yes, Kyrie hit the shot. Yes, LeBron had the chase down. But this amazing comeback has a lot to do with the Cavs getting it done on the unglamorous end of the court when it mattered most. They held Curry to 6 of 19. They held Klay Thompson to 6 of 17. And ultimately, they held the Warriors to just 89 points in that incredible Game 7 performance. Understandably, this Cavs title is synonymous with 2 incredible plays by its stars and the improbable comeback. But it also proved once again that in the NBA, defense wins championships. Just ask Andre Iguodala.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.